A billboard in Indiana is making national headlines because it praises certain behaviors of Muhammad, the founder of Islam. And Muslims there are complaining, saying it's an insult. I'm confused. I'm going to show you the billboard. You decide. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Welcome to the program, friend. So there's a billboard in Indiana, and the Indy Star did a story on this billboard, and it's causing all this hubbub. It's about Muhammad, the founder of Islam, and people are complaining. They're outraged, and I thought, I don't get it. I don't get it. There are Muslims who love this billboard because it's spot on. At first, when I read it, wink, wink, I thought maybe they're praising Muhammad. All right, I'll stop being a smile. Go ahead, put it up. Put it up for yourself. So here's what it says. You see it. The perfect man, married a 6-year-old, slave owner and dealer, rapist, beheaded 600 Jews in one day, 13 wives, 11 at one time, tortured and killed unbelievers. I beg your pardon. So, this is, I mean, there's just nothing inaccurate there. So as I was reading this story, one fairly uneducated U.S. Senator, Senator Todd Young, said, "This is beneath us, disturbing and divisive. Displays like this incite and offend rather than educate." So, I'm reading this. I'm reading all the comments. And I'm thinking, why is nobody just stop? Why is nobody just stopping and saying, is it true? Is it true? Some of the Muslims that were being quoted knew it was true. Okay? So here's what one of them said. "It's a horrible billboard. I'm outraged by it, but saddened at the same time. And I would like to know who is behind it," said Rima Shahid, executive director of the Muslim Alliance of Indiana. "It seems very cowardly to me. If you have some kind of stance, you should want to stand up next to your statement. I don't think there was any room for hate in our city. This billboard tells me otherwise. This kind of rhetoric just furthers division in our state and makes a neighbor question a neighbor, just like I am today." So I'm reading this. This is actually funny. Forgive me. What is she saying? Notice that she never says this isn't true. She said it's cowardly. His name isn't there. We want to know who they are. We want to know where they live. Look, I'm going to do everyone a favor here, okay? Let's go over these one at a time. And the genius of this billboard is that it has people talking. Because it is my belief that as people understand who Muhammad is, the founder of Islam, they're either going to go, I want in on that and I want to convert, or they're going to say, whoa, get thee behind me, Satan. And that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to show you from ancient Islamic sources that are what are called canonical. Okay? Canonical means that it's the true measure. It's true. All right? So if you hear about canonical sources, like we as Christians, we have the canonical books of the Bible. This is what the canon is, the true measure. So the Muslims have canonical literature, and the canonical literature records things about Muhammad's life. That canonical literature is the Quran, the Hadith of Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, and the Sirah, the biography of Muhammad by Ibn Ishaq. So here we go. The perfect man. That was a little bit of a stretch. But what the Quran does say repeatedly is that in Muhammad, you have the best example, the perfect illustration of what it means to be a devout follower of Allah. So for example, indeed, in the messenger of Allah, you have a good example to follow. It's Quran 33:21. He who obeys the messenger has obeyed Allah. Now, there's where they get the idea, by extension, that this is a perfect man. If Muhammad says it, it's as if God himself said it. And if you do what Muhammad said, you're obeying God. So, all right, I get it. Let's look at Muhammad. Let's see what Muhammad did. Let's see what Muhammad said. If he's the best example to follow, if obeying him is as if I was obeying Allah himself, then certainly I want to know what Allah wants me to do. So this is where we decide, is Muhammad the prophet of God? What did he say? What did he do? And let's imitate it. We will start with being married to a 6-year-old as soon as I return. Have Muslim terrorists hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam? Or is there more to the story? The answer lies in the life of one man, Muhammad, the founder of Islam. Muslim terrorists see themselves inside a 1,400-year-old story, a narrative that focuses on specific events in the life of Muhammad. We are going to look at Muhammad's life using their most sacred literature. We will look at Muhammad at the Battle of Badr. We'll see him deal with those who mock him. We'll see the times when he used deception. We'll witness Muhammad's anti-Semitism. And yes, we will discuss Muhammad and his teachings concerning sex, slavery, and jihad. Friend, if you want to understand Islamic terrorism, get this series today. All right, so we're here, and I'm looking at these quotes. Muhammad and marrying a 6-year-old. Again, if you just joined me, put that billboard up again, would you? This billboard in Indiana is creating all this controversy because it says these things about Muhammad. The perfect man, married a 6-year-old, slave owner and dealer, rapist, beheaded 600 Jews in one day, tortured and killed unbelievers, 13 wives, 11 at one time. All right, so we'll just go through these. If he was the perfect man, if whoever obeys Muhammad is obeying Allah, then what he's doing and what he's saying is right. And you notice that Muslim who was quoted, as I pointed out, never said this isn't true. And sadly, the non-Muslims did not have the intelligence to ask a simple question. Is this true? Now, it could be divisive and be true. It could be offensive and be true. Or it could be that the people who are divided and who feel insulted shouldn't feel insulted. Either the Muslims should own it and say this is true, or non-Muslims should get on the stick, get on the program, and say, you know, at first we found this offensive, him having sex with a little girl, but now we're thinking, well, if this is what Allah wants. So here we go. Married a 6-year-old. Quote, the apostle of Allah married me, that's Aisha, when I was 6 or 7. When we came to Medina, some women came to me when I was swinging. They took me, made me prepared, and decorated me. I was then brought to the apostle of Allah, and he took up cohabitation with me when I was 9. Okay, there's your references. And then here's Bukhari. He married Aisha when she was a girl of 6 years of age and consummated that marriage when she was 9 years old. So Muhammad died when she was 16, maybe 17. He was their literature says that she was the only virgin he ever married, and that she was his favorite wife. She could never get pregnant. She tried, could never get pregnant. So it's their literature. Now, it's very important. You've got to hear something I'm about to tell you, all right? For those of you who think, I can't believe this, listen to me. Aisha is the source, the single largest source of canonical hadith in all of Islam. I repeat, Aisha, the child bride, is the single largest source of canonical hadith for all of Islam, Sunni Islam. So in other words, they take her word. If it comes from Aisha, if you can trace the hadith to Aisha, it's gold, baby. Well, she's the one telling you. I mean, we got married when I was 6, consummated with me when I was 9. This is a pre-puberty little girl. Don't make any mistake. He was a slave owner and a dealer. All right, here's one. Then the apostle divided the property, wives, and children of Banu Qurayza among the Muslims. So there's your references, Ishaq, Al-Tabari, Bukhari. These are all canonical sources, all right? Now, case you don't understand, the apostle always, or the messenger of God, is always referring to Muhammad. Now, he had destroyed this Jewish tribe. He killed all their men. We're going to see that in a minute. So once he's got all these hovering little children and these hovering women, he said, all right, you guys all fought. You all helped me kill all those Jews. You get this slave. You get that slave. He's trading in slaves now. And then, oh, there's more. He said, we got a lot of women left over here, and what we really need is horses and weapons. The apostle sent some of the captive women of Banu Qurayza to the city of Najd, and he sold them for horses and weapons. The apostle had chosen one of their women for himself, Rehana, and she remained with him until she died in his power. So, here we see he's trading slaves, right? Slave trader. He kept one of the women, slave owner. And I'm going to show you when we come back from this break that he, in fact, did forcibly have sex with her and several other women. But look, the Muslims aren't saying it's not true. They're saying it's insulting, it's degrading. And well, hey, just own it. Be brave. If this is the servant of Allah, own it. I'll be right back. We have a special offer for those of you that can give a $50 gift to Voice of Resistance, the Randall Terry Pack. I will give you all 5 of my books that are still in print and my music CD that we cut in Nashville. And here's what else. I'll autograph all of them for you. And if you want me to say to Tom or to Sue so that you can give it as a gift to someone else or keep it in your library as a part of your collection, I'll personalize each one. Just say on the computer who you want it to go to, or tell the person who answers the phone, please have Randall personalize his autograph to these people. I'm going to give a phone number for those of you who don't want to use your computer. Call 304-289-3700. You can get Dragon Slayers, Accessory to Murder, Why Does a Nice Guy Like Me Keep Getting Thrown in Jail, and other books. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700. Welcome back, friend. Okay, the sign. Let's put the sign up again for those of you who just joined me. We're talking about a billboard in Indiana that's making a ton of news. And I was confused when I saw the reaction of people. When I saw the story, I was confused. The journalist never said, is this true? That's just sloppy journalism. So I'm going to send this list out in a press release very shortly because it's true. I don't even know what else to say. It's true. Here's the rapist one. This is from the Quran. O prophet, we have made lawful to thee for sex thy wives to whom thou hast paid their dowers, and those whom thy right hand possesses out of the prisoner of war, whom Allah has assigned to thee. All right. So you have to understand, Christianity has the rules of just war, okay? Islam has rules of war. And right in the Quran, it says, look, the ones that are lawful to you to have sex with are your wives, multiple wives, who you've paid the proper dower, right? Dowry. And it's lawful for you to have sex from the women, the captives, among the prisoners of war, who Allah has assigned to you. There you go. Hey, rape them, have sex with them. I mean, unless you think that all the prisoners of war were just like, all right, I want to have sex with Muhammad, now I'm a captive. I know, it's offensive. All right, ready? Look, here's more. An account of the messenger of God's slave concubines. They were Maria bint Shamun the Copt and Rehana from Banu Qurayza. Here's another line about Rehana. The apostle had chosen one of their women for himself, Rehana, and she remained with him until she died in his power. So she's a slave. He has sex with her whenever he wants. All right? Slave concubine. At least in some portions of Hebrew culture, a concubine was a concubine as an act of her will. Okay? This is a slave concubine. Someone who's there for sexual pleasure. And then Muhammad, finally, there's more examples. We're not going to go into them today. But Muhammad took for his sex slave the beautiful teenager Safiya after he tortured her husband with fire and then had him beheaded. So here's what it says. It says, the prophet then brought Safiya, whom he had won from the war booty. Now this girl, by all accounts, was 17 to 19 years old and was just drop dead beautiful. And one of the other Muslim warriors got her, said, "Oh, you're going to be my sex slave." And one of Muhammad's close associates said, "Hey, Muhammad, this guy so-and-so just got this young girl, and she is way too beautiful for him. She's the most beautiful of all the women in this entire tribe, and she only belongs to you." So he had the man summoned and the girl summoned, looked at her, looked at the guy, looked at her, and said to the guy, "Go find someone else." Just took her, made her his sex slave. And then he decided he would marry her later on. All right, so beheaded 600 Jews in one day. That's true, but it's probably, there's probably more. Let me read this to you. The apostle besieged them, the Jews of Banu Qurayza, for 25 nights until they were sore pressed, and God cast terror into their hearts. You will remember that Muhammad said that God made him victorious by terror. So here's this narrative that they besieged. They surrounded these Jews, a very large district of Medina, and there were thousands of Jews there, and they besieged them, and finally they surrendered. They thought, okay, he's going to make us leave town, like he has with all the other Jews. Muhammad just kept driving the Jews out, but these particular Jews, no, that was not to be their fate. It says, then the apostle went out to the market of Medina and dug trenches in it. He sent for them and struck off their heads in those trenches as they were brought out to him in batches. There were 600 or 700 in all, though some put the figure as high as 800 or 900. This went on until the apostle made an end of them. All right. This again is an event that is recorded in all of the canonical sacred literature of Islam. This happened, and it's in the Quran. Okay, it's in chapter 35. Where it talks about God casting terror in them, and they got your house, they got all your houses, you took all their lands, some you killed, some you took as hostage. Well, this is the event. And he killed every man who was in puberty. So they would strip all the boys and see which ones had reached puberty. If they were in puberty, they were killed. If they weren't, they were distributed as a slave. Okay? It's on the billboard. Why didn't anyone in the Indianapolis Star just ask, is this true? Is this what Muhammad was all about? Clearly it is. And the woman, the Muslim woman, knew it. But she just wants to go, I'm offended. This is insulting, blah, blah, blah. Own it, sweetheart. Just be brave. Own it. I'll be right back. What Would Muhammad Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, I learned more from What Would Muhammad Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life. Best-selling author Dr. Bill Warner said, What Would Muhammad Do is the best movie series, TV production on the life of Muhammad and Islamic terrorism that has ever been produced. Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700, or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. Friend, we have a series that will help you and those you love to have an impact on this country. It's called Insurrecta Nex. That's Latin for revolution against the killing of innocent people. This is the history, the philosophy, and the theology of social revolution in America. We look at the Stamp Act, the Boston Tea Party, the abolition of slavery, the abolition of child labor, women's voting rights, the civil rights movement. All of them have this in common: courage, sacrifice, dedication, and in-your-face tactics and rhetoric. That's one of the reasons that we've been losing the culture wars the last 40 years, is because the bad guys are using these tactics and we aren't. We will send you this 14-part TV series along with these manuals for students, a teacher's facilitator guide for only $40. Go to 304-289-3700, 304-289-3700. Welcome back to the program, friend. I am a graduate of a military university with a master's degree, not just a bachelor's. I have a bachelor's from State University of New York, but my master's research is in diplomacy and international terrorism. Okay? So that little MA after my name refers to the thousands of hours that I have spent studying this material. All right? That makes me what media people call an expert. It's just what I am. I'm not an expert in brain surgery, not an expert in nuclear science, none of that stuff. But in this, I'm an expert. This is their material. This is who Muhammad was. This is what he did, according to their literature. If a Muslim wants to reject all of this and say none of this is true, then the problem with that is that Islam collapses. Because Islam is the Quran, the Hadith, the Sirahs, and then Sharia law. That's what Islam is. And all of those sources talk about Muhammad having sex slaves and killing the Jews, etc. So this is Islam. And either it's true or it's not true. Not either the record of it is true. The record is true. Either Muhammad was the prophet of God or he wasn't. Okay? That's the issue. All Islamic historians know that Muhammad did these things. And they say, yes, this is true, and we embrace it because he was the prophet of God. Let's just finish this because I want the makers of that billboard to be praised for their research. He tortured and killed unbelievers. Now, there was a man named Kinana, and he was a Jew. He was the treasurer of the Jews in a certain city, Khaybar. And Muhammad just randomly launched an attack on Khaybar. And he came into the city and said, woe unto you, Khaybar is destroyed. So they just went castle to castle, killing the men, taking the women. They came to Kinana, and they said, where's the money? He said, there is no money. He was lying. And they said, if we find it in your possession, we're going to kill you. And that's what Muhammad said here. Do you not, you know that if we find the treasure in your possession, I shall kill you. He said, I know. Said, there's no money. We spent it all moving. So a Jew cut a deal with Muhammad. Spare me my life, and I'll tell you where I've seen Kinana walking, where I think the money is hid. So Muhammad spared his life, that Jew, and they sent men there to this ruin, and they started excavating, and sure enough, they found a lot of gold. So Muhammad had him brought in and said, all right, where's the rest? And the guys just said no. So Muhammad said, all right, torture him. Quote, torture him until you extract what he has. So he kindled a fire with flint on his chest until he was nearly dead. And then the apostle delivered him to Muhammad, son of Maslama, that's another Muhammad, and he struck off his head. So here you have this image of this man being tied down and tortured by literally building a fire on his chest. Okay? Now, this was not for military information. You know, this is not waterboarding. Okay? This is true torture. And it wasn't for, all right, you've got my kids. I'm going to torture you till you tell me where my kids are. Or you've got information in a key battle. I mean, even though we theoretically don't believe in true torture, if it's for something that is like a family member is in jeopardy of death, I would torture someone. If I knew that they knew where my kids were, I would torture someone to get the information. All right? I don't know what I would do, but I would do something. Like that movie with Nicolas Cage where he shot off the guy's toe in the hospital. Anyway, so that he could save the first lady. All right. So this was for money. This was just to get money. Muhammad tortured this unbeliever. It's true. What they said is true. And then finally, about how many wives he had, 13 wives, 11 at one time. We don't have time to go to this. This number here, it might be low, okay? And that's really not a problem. Muslims have never shrunk away from the fact that Muhammad had multiple wives. And Jews had multiple wives. King Solomon had a lot of wives. David had a lot of wives. It was the coming of Christ and the elevating of marriage to the level of covenant sacrament that all marriage was to be between one man and one woman, all right? So there you have it. This is Muhammad. Now, if you want to learn more, go to the website you see on your screen. You can watch episode 4, dealing with lying. You can watch episode 6, dealing with rape and sex slavery. You can watch episode 8, dealing with jihad. And you can see that the people who made that billboard were really going easy on on Muhammad. Listen, either he was the prophet of God or he wasn't. This is what happened. We all have to accept it and then decide, do we want to embrace this or reject it with all our hearts?
Mm-hmm.